Hi friends, it's Jenny. I am Becky's sister and I am back on her channel to share something with you that I wanted to make, and it's something I've been thinking about for a while. A few adoption auctions ago, that's a tongue twister, from the Gemstone Orphanage, the folks at Homestrung Jewelry. My sister saw a pendant and she got her own orphan that she adopted, and she was just going to get one, but then she saw this one and knew she had to get it for me, and we did an unboxing on one of her lives, so those of you who have been around have seen this before. But this is Aashni, and it is a Larvikite donut, and it's got all this beautiful flash in it. I like it. There's so much. Just look at all that silver flash. I have been wanting to make something with this for a while, and I've been thinking about how I want to do it for a while, and I finally settled on a design. And this month, they're just wrapping up a stash challenge. Actually, while I'm recording this is like the last night that I can submit it. They're going to be doing a drawing for rewards. It's something that they do over on their Facebook channel. And they're going to be doing a drawing on Saturday. This video might be after that drawing. And I think they're also going to be making a new announcement. So go ahead and go over to their channel to check out their replay. We'll put links in the description below to their Facebook channel as well. But they've been doing this challenge where Debbie has been posting a dream dress, something that she just loves and have always wanted to create some jewelry for it. And for the fourth and final week, she posted a dream dress, which is her wedding dress. Today's actually her, again, you'll see this later, but it's actually her and Steve's wedding anniversary. And so she posted her wedding dress, but we were also able to choose our own dresses. I don't really have much in my stash that leans very bridal, and so I decided to reverse the challenge. And so instead, I pulled out my orphan that I have been wanting to design with, and I found a dress to go with it. Let me see if I can hold that where you can see it. There's a little bit of glare from the light, but it's got kind of like a slashing neckline up here. And I'm thinking that this donut pendant would make a beautiful necklace that just rests right at that hollow of your throat. So this is what I'm going to use for my inspiration, because it's got a lot of that same kind of, articulated look with that surprising flash, which is used with silver in this. So let's get to making. There are two different, obviously it's different on two different sides. I feel like I get more flash on one side than the other, but the way I'm going to end up making this, it can be worn either way. But because there's so much flash and interest in this, I did not want to overdo things with creating a bail or wrapping it, because I want to be able to see all that. Oh yes, that's just gorgeous. All that flash. Larvikite is a labradorite cousin. So it's very similar, but it just has all these moody blues, a little bit of a blue silver flash, and I'm really excited to make with this. I'm going to be, for tools, I'm going to be using the Casual Comfort for just a little bit of opening and closing jump rings. I went through several attempts trying to figure out how I wanted to do an earring to go with this, and I ended up not needing it to make loops, so I probably won't be using my round nose pliers after all, just these guys. And then magical crimpers, because I am going to string this necklace. And then I'm going to pull down half my beads at a time, because I'm doing just halves. So for one half, we've got, these are more Larvikite in an 8 and a 6 millimeter. They were in the dress up bag that came with my orphan with Aashni. And then I also have some hematite or hematite. I think it's not, no, these are gunmetal, not hematite. I do have some hematite, but I'm not using it. I'm using gunmetal for my metal on this. most of the findings I've been able to do for this are gunmetal with the exception of the clasp. But that's going to be at the back of the neck, and I'm not as concerned about that. I've also got these kind of lustry gray, pardon, 6/0 seed beads. And I've got, you know, plenty of those. I'll be using them a little bit like spacers because they pull out some of the kind of taupey shades of gray in that Larvikite. So I thought that this was a really good selection of items to use for making this. And I am going to be stringing all of it on the satin silver medium beading wire from Softflex. And using some Softflex crimp tubes, again in that gunmetal, because what I want to do is not detract from this pendant. And I want it to be able to move freely as well, so that it can rotate, it can spin, you can have it any direction that you want to show off the flash. So what I am going to do is I'm going to, on two sides, loop it through. I'm gonna do it this way. Loop it through and create a close but loose loop so that, see how it's got that movement with the crimp bead. So I need to get my crimp on the end of the wire, and then I'm going to bring it back through here, and I'm going to loop it. I want it to go the other way though, because this is to me the prettiest side. So it's kind of finicky, but I want where I snip off my excess wire to be at the back. If I snip it off instead of being able to put it inside the beads that I have here, I might be able to put the wire inside. We'll see. But I'm going to make the loop here and snug it up against there. Again, I want to make sure that I have enough room that it can move. Which is also good because I want enough room that I can use the magical crimper to close this crimp tube where I'm not going to be damaging the stone. And so I've got a little bit of a gap between myself and the stone. And you can see it here, just a little bit of a gap. And I've got it centered in here, and I'm just gonna give it a little squeeze and then rotate it and give it another little squeeze. It's hard to see because of all the dark grays, so I'm just talking through it instead of doing like a full demonstration. But Becky does have tutorials of how to use the magical crimper successfully. And I'm just rotating it through here to round out the crimp tube so that it makes just a little, oh, that is maybe not the best quality crimp. Let me see if going around it smooths it enough, or if I need to redo this. I might need to redo it. I got a little bit out of the center at some point, and so I've got some rough edges. It's not pretty, and I don't want a mangled crimp that close to the focal, the front of my necklace. So I am going to go ahead and snip this off and snip this off. And do that again. Again, identifying which side is the side that I want to be front and center. That's the one. Getting a crimp bead. I'll just have to get some more of those out. I do have some spare crimp beads, so that's good. Gunmetal is a color I ordered specifically because I thought I would like it. There we go. Okay. So then I pull this back through here. Maybe I was trying to do that just a little bit too close and didn't give myself room to really make sure that my crimp was centered, because that is super important in having a successful crimp, is to make sure that it's centered. So instead of doing it under the pendant, I'm doing it over the pendant, and I think that that's a better option for me. Go ahead and do that. And then and excuse the clicky claws, that's my dog. She's just going a little walkabout. But I shouldn't need to get up for her or anything. Jason is home. She just came in from outside, so she has to go check everything, you know, as dogs do, right? Okay, so this still has some movement. And I'm gonna go ahead and, because I know where I want this to be on my neck, I just pulled it off screen for a second, where I want this to be on my neck. Okay, and then I'll need some extra for crimping, so let's see. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this. I'm gonna be using some wire stoppers. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this and then divide it in half and then string my two sides. So I put it around my neck. I did some extra for making loops, especially that loop, the other loop around the focal. And if I have a little extra, that's fine, because it'll probably be just about the right length. Nope, I think this is actually how much I'm gonna need to get done all of the looping and crimping that I need. So, oh, I don't want to cut that in half. What I want to do, okay, this is all a little bit backwards. I haven't done this before, so this is a little bit experimental. I'm gonna go ahead and crimp the other side of the donut and then cut what's left in half. Then I'm not needing to estimate that I've got enough to do this loop on the other side versus not, and so forth. So just, yeah, okay, so that's the side. So if I come up through here, yeah. So then I'm gonna go ahead and do this here and pull it so that it's a little taut. See how it's just kind of suspended between the two? But it's because it's the satin silver, it doesn't detract from the color. You can still see all of this stone, this beautiful stone, and this is how we're gonna make our necklace. So I'm excited. This is all a grand experiment. We'll see how it works out. This is the first time I've made something using a donut pendant. And I know that there's lots of options in how to do them. Becky has done some great stuff, that including using colored soft flex wire to create a pattern, wrapping all the way around it and adding seed beads around the edges, which is really pretty and interesting. So again, there's a little bit of movement. If you want to, you can reposition your donut. But this is otherwise good. See how small that is? Like, this is meant to be a short necklace. I'm hoping I've got this right. But I do have some gunmetal jump rings if I need to lengthen, if I've underestimated how much I need. So I am just kind of pulling these two together so that I can better estimate where the middle point is, and that's where I'm snipping. This is the middle point, so that I can string each side of my necklace. And there's a lot of gorgeous flash. It doesn't matter which side this pendant is. I think I like this side a little bit better, but they both have some beautiful beautiful details on it. So I'm going to go ahead and start stringing a pattern, and I'm hoping that like right now I don't have a specific pattern planned, and that's okay. One of the things I'm doing is I'm using these great crystal triangles to call out some of those triangular shapes that were in the dress that we had, so that it's not just the colors that go with it, but, you know, kind of harken back to a little bit of that, the geometric part of it. The necklace offers a lot of circular patterns and details, but I think, let's see if I can fit. I can fit 2 strands through that. That's good. And so I think it's really a good, oh, that's right. I'm using seed beads too. I'm like, I need to make sure that I'm using enough of these items to really make these stone beads the star, and not have them all bunched together, so that your eye is drawn to all that great stuff. Yes, and I'm just stringing along, figuring out the pattern as I go. I'm kind of loving this. I'm trying to make something that is classy looking, but also is very simple. Like an understated elegance is kind of what I'm hoping for here. This is just me trying to stick that last bit of wire that was folded over inside this bead, but I think this might be where I decide to snip it so that I don't have that possible pokey out bit close to the pendant. I wanted to get a little farther in, so between that 6/0, actually I didn't quite get it. Here we go. Use a little bit of a flesh cutter so it ends behind that 6/0, and getting these shapes all together. Yes. Oh yes, I'm liking this, guys. So I'm just going to string this a little bit. I'm going to string one side, and then I'm going to string the other, and then we'll attach a clasp, and then I'll show you what I've got in mind for an earring. Now, Becky got this because it is so Jenny. It was back in April, and so we'd been, unboxing the April bargain bead box, and I just absolutely fell in love with a lot of the moody grays. I love a good gray neutral. I love cool neutrals. And so not just Becky, but like other people who were there attending the auction who have, missed my pattern, that's okay, saw it and said, oh, Becky, Jenny would love this so much. And they're right. I love this so much. So I'm excited that I am finally able to make what I want to with this. And it's something, like I said, I've been thinking about for a while. I've had some other creative projects that have kind of taken up some of that creative headspace. Oh my goodness. Do you love that? I think I just love that. I've divided up my beads so I know that I make sure that I have enough for the other side. But this is, like I said, it's something I've been thinking about and wanting to make. And I am putting more of the 8/0 beads to the front. And then I will continue with the 6/0 beads as I continue along. But I may not even use all of them. I thought that I would end up using all of those up, but I think I've created enough space between here. Because again, I don't really want to, I want this to be the focus, the star of this design. So I don't even know, like I'm liking how delicate this looks and the variation in size. So it kind of depends on how the end of it works out. But right now, I'm just focusing with the bigger guys, the 8mm beads. I've got 4 for each of those because I plan on using 2 in each earring. So there's going to be more of those in the earring, but I want to make sure that I've got the front of this pattern exactly where I want it to be. And I'm just enjoying this. But yeah, I've been thinking about this for a while. It's just one of those things is sometimes I do something quickly on the fly, like when I do this Easter stash stuff with Becky, and that's a lot of fun. But sometimes I want to give something more of my thought, more of my energy. I want to accomplish something specific. And this is one of those things. I knew that when I did this, I wanted to definitely do it justice and not just slap it together with whatever I had available. So this I pulled from several different sources to get what I wanted, what I had in mind, to give it the balance, to give it the color, well, or lack of color, because it's all shades of gray, but to give it the right tones so that it's still interesting and I like it. Like, this is something I would want to wear. So again, especially with that dress with that slashed, fairly high slash neckline, it just feels like this is the kind of thing that you would want to do a much shorter but statement necklace, you know. It doesn't need to cover the dress. It just needs to, you know, highlight it. So yes, I did it a little bit backwards. I had in mind what I wanted to do, and then I found a dress that was the right colors, and then that informed my further decisions about the actual, you know, patterns that I wanted to use. So it's exciting. I like it. I am nearing the end of this. And I don't think I'm going to continue the full like space between. Maybe I'm going to shorten the space by taking out the gunmetal spacers and one of the crystals so that it's more, because I do want to, I used these same Larvikite beads when I did my Story of a Storm necklace, and I have saved these to be able to use with this necklace. And I want to, not that I'm opposed to having beads left over, but I don't want to have so few left over that they don't get used. I want to fully use these babies because they're beautiful. And again, they were part of the dress up bag that I got with this orphan that Becky got for me. I probably should check to see where I am. That's using 4 of the 8mm rounds and 3 of the 6mm rounds. I'm just checking the fit. I do want to continue that because I do. Oh, this is fantastic. This is going to be almost right. I'm gonna end up with just a few extra beads. Maybe I will end up doing a bracelet with this. Probably not in this video because I've got some things going on today, but if I do a bracelet with it, I can use the last few, because there will be, since I divided them in half, there will be about 4 of these Larvikite beads. And I could make a bracelet. I could make a bracelet that does well with that. I think I am just about to end. I'm putting one of my little gunmetal spacer guys on the end, so he pairs nicely with the gunmetal crimp that I'm about to use. But I think that that's really pretty for the first, the pendant and the first half of the necklace. Yeah, that's going to be lovely. That's going to be absolutely lovely. So I'm going to go ahead and I planned the right amount of space. I have enough here to comfortably fold over and crimp my little crimp tube. So I'm going to end this side. Let me get a little bit of tension on that, or curl it so that it, you know, makes it so I don't have tension later, excess tension, because drape is important, even on a shorter necklace. So I'm going to get this centered, give it the squish, turn it 90 degrees, give it the squish, and keep squishing. that crimp that I did at the beginning that I mangled and cut off, that was the first time in a while that I've really truly mangled a crimp and not been able to save it. So I do have Becky's pliers. Manufacturing quality does matter on the crimpers. We've both discovered that. Oh, and I meant to string this back through. Let me get it back through a few beads before I chop it off. Since I can with these guys. Where are you coming out? There. Okay. I just jammed it through wherever it would fit. Oh, come on. Except I've got a little loop, and I don't want that little loop. There we go. Pulled it through. And snipped it off. Ah, yes. Yes, this is what I'm doing. So I'm just going to repeat that pattern on this other side. Again, I am going to go ahead and, take a little bit more time right at the front, to get the end of this wire in so that it ends in or near other beads away from the focal. Because who wants a little wire nub right there when you're trying to do something fancy? And I'm getting the other half of my beads. So these were the extras, set them aside, getting my other half of the beads. These little luster 6/0s that I got, gray with kind of a luster finish on them. They're ones that actually my mother-in-law got at a garage sale because she loves to go garage sale shopping, and she went somewhere where someone was getting rid of a whole bunch of beads, and she's like, oh, my daughter-in-law does beads, maybe I'll get some of these. And so when I was there recently and visiting, we just kind of rated what she had, and so I added a few things to my stash, and this is one of the things that got added to my stash because she had thought of me. Isn't that sweet? There were, of course, things I didn't need, so I didn't, take everything, but I did take a few things, and I think that that's pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and snip this off here. Nope, a little bit more. It's not getting in enough. These are flush cutters, but it's not quite getting close enough. And I don't want it to push the, yeah, there we go. I don't want it to push the little triangle crystal so that it sits funky, That's not what I'm going for with this. I managed to avoid that on the other side, so I also want to avoid it on that side. No funky crystal sitting or something. Go back to my pattern. I actually just went back. I'm like, did I mess up my pattern earlier? I don't think I did. I think I was pretty consistent with how I did that. There we go. So I've been doing this a little bit, not nearly as long as Becky has, but I have now been doing it enough that my family is recognizing that this is something I enjoy doing, and they think of me and think of the things that I might need. So I thought that was really sweet that she also got it because she does different types of crafting. And one of the things that she's wanting to do is make what are basically sun catchers made with chicken wire, which sounds really interesting and cool. And I haven't seen what she's done with it yet, but a lot of why she got a bunch of beads was for that reason. But of course, for sun catcher, you're mostly going to want beads that are clear or translucent, or, you know, stuff that the sun can catch and not really opaque. And so there are several things that she got that she knew she wouldn't use. And so if I would use them, then she was happy for me to have them. So let's see. Oh, I am really, really loving this. I feel like this is exactly what this donut pendant needed, so that it's still like, this is almost entirely what you see. It has the thing, but you don't really see it because that wire blends in so well. And then these other guys just to highlight and surround, and definitely not overpower. This is making me very happy. I feel like finally I was ready to do this justice. That's not to downplay other things that I make, but you know, there are some times when you have to put some more thought behind what you want to do and how you want to do it, the how of it. I spent about an hour earlier trying to figure out how I wanted to do an earring with this, because I am focusing on these grays. And one of the things that I've struggled with sometimes is finding nickel-free pendings in all nickel-free findings in all of the right kind of things. So just making sure before I go much farther that these guys line up. Oh, they look so good. They look so good. I struggle to have the right thing. So I decided with the grays and everything, that I was going to do gunmetal. And there's 2 gunmetal things that I needed that I don't have. One of them is a clasp. I don't have a gunmetal clasp that is nickel-free. Well, I don't keep any clasps that aren't nickel-free, but having something that's gunmetal was tricky. So I'm using some a clasp that Becky made for me from wire that has at least more of a stainless steel look rather than a bright silver. So I'll be using that as the clasp. But I wanted to make earrings, and usually I put my earrings on a head pin or a ball pin and just make a pretty simple dangle, which honestly would fit the style of this necklace really well. But the only pins I have that are both gunmetal and nickel-free are eye pins. And so I spent a long time trying to figure out how to make a briolette hang nice at the bottom of this thing, because again, I don't have any gunmetal charms. I don't have very many stone pieces that can just hang, and, you know, like a top drilled, something that's top drilled, that would be a good fit for this necklace or this style or whatever. And so I spent a long time figuring it out. So I came up with a solution that doesn't use a pin at all. So we'll get to that in a little bit, but that was definitely, you know, a part of the process. I was spending more time thinking about what I wanted to do. Oh, I made a mistake. I started. How many of you saw that and said, Jenny, stop? This is where I cut my pattern so that I wasn't using as many crystals, and I wasn't using the gunmetal spacer once I started with the 6mm beads, which this is my first 6mm bead. This is my last gunmetal spacer. So this is where I tighten up the pattern and make sure I get 4 of the 6mm stones in. So yeah, this is where I stop using the spacers. I need to just move them out of my way, because I will keep using them if I'm not paying close attention. I need 4 for later on the earrings. So those are for the earrings. So I have gone ahead and made one earring already because I wanted to make sure that my idea worked. So I was testing a lot of things, and then I landed on one that I liked, and I'm like, okay, this is it. This is what we're doing. It's good to go. So yes, okay. See, that's lining up now. I mean, I would have checked before I finished it, but I'm glad that I caught it when I was definitely still on the, I'm actively stringing this portion. All right. Oh, and I did need one more gunmetal spacer to finish off because I did do that on the other side. Okay, so this is where we look at it and say, did I forget anything? Did I miss anything? Hopefully I didn't miss anything on this side because no, it's all fine because that side is already crimped. I think this side is now ready to crimp. Yay. So I'm just gonna get this crimped real quick. We'll attach the clasp and then we'll make an earring. Just comparing my loops and getting them about the same size. I mean, it's not precise, but I want them to be fairly similar. With earrings, it matters more because, you know, the size of a loop might make a bigger difference. And there's my other little thing. And as before, I totally forgot about tucking it back in before I started crimping, which is fine, but it is more difficult to get it back in. If I'd done this before I crimped, then it would be much easier. There we go. Get in as close as I can. Just snip with my flush cutters without snipping the wire that I have it strung on, because that's important, guys. That's important. Okay, I may have made it a tiny bit short, but that, like I said, this is where I'm going to use the jump rings to make sure it's the length that I want. I'm going to do these guys. Nope, I'm going to do these guys. They're a little bit smaller. I think if I do 2 on each side plus the clasp, that will work. So I'm going to try that. If it's not quite right, then I will just adjust it, and I may choose to adjust it later. It's definitely right now going to fit more like a choker, and I don't want it to actually be a choker. I want it to drop down a little bit on the neck, but I do want it to be in that family. So make sure that's, yep. And then, okay, and this is where I do need to see which side is which, because I know which direction I prefer to wear it because of the flash. So this is front. Yes, front. Which I guess you can just flip it. So I guess it doesn't matter which side I do it because you just flip the thing itself. That's fine then. So I'll get this on here, and then I'll get the figure 8 part of the clasp that Becky made. Close up my jump ring. So that's how that ends. And I don't think, especially with the like pearl gray, I don't think that that metal looks out of place. I would prefer to have it be gunmetal, but it doesn't have to be. So. Just making sure that that jump ring closes nicely. And then we'll open this one and attach both the previous ring and the hook for this clasp that Becky made. So now just getting it attached, or putting it on and checking the positioning. Yeah, so this is, it definitely rides at the base of the neck, but it is right up against the neck, which is exactly what I wanted. This is the right size. I'm so excited, guys. Okay, so here's the necklace, and we're gonna go ahead and set it aside and see how easily these move, but it still is like, it's still secure. Yeah, you really can't go wrong. You can wear that either side with the flash. I'm gonna set aside the necklace, and we're going to make the earring. And this is the design I came up with for the earring right here. Zoom in just a little bit so you can see that. Yeah. So this is, instead of using pins, I decided to use just some more of the same soft flex wire that we've been using, and make an elegant drop shape with the wire. So I'll be using 2 crimps as well as the beads that were here, and then at the base I have this crystal briolette, since I've got the crystal triangle up here in between the crimps, but I've got this briolette to just, you know, class it all up. But it also is using those same Larvikite. Isn't that beautiful? Look at the movement in those stones. I love that. So this one's a little bit closer work, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave it zoomed in while I'm making. If you guys wanted to watch it, I'm gonna kind of see. I can move it back out if I'm going out of screen very much, but I don't think I will this time. Since I did have that one crimp that I messed up on earlier, I do need to get another crimp tube, but I am starting by putting my crimp tube on, and then I'm just gonna string this pattern. So starting at the crimp tube and all the way around. So this is what I'm putting it on. I've got the spacer, the gunmetal spacer. I've got one of my, oh, that's right, these guys are the other ones. I forgot I needed to get these guys down here. The ones I set aside for doing this. So I've got my 6mm Larvikite is next. I want the smaller of the 2 stones towards the top of the drop. And then I'm using my little 6/0 seed bead as a spacer. And then I'm using an 8mm Larvikite. And then I've got another 6/0 spacer, and then a gunmetal spacer. And then I've got my crystal briolette. And then I'm just repeating that, going back up the other side. So gunmetal, 6/0, 8mm, 6/0, 6mm, and then gunmetal. Is that right? Yes, and then the gunmetal. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take the end of this back through my crimp bead, or my crimp tube right here, and I'm gonna pull through just enough to get a good crimp. I'm just gonna pull this taut, and this crimp bead is gonna kind of pinch off by these spacers. See that? And then I'm gonna go ahead and do my crimp. And just kind of rotate that around till I get what I want. Okay, then I'm gonna take my flesh cutters and I'm gonna snip off this excess, the shorter piece of wire, and see I'm still attached to the spool over here. And now I am going to cut off enough of this to string a crystal triangle, and then be able to make another loop and crimp it. So I'm gonna, get a decent amount, enough to loop and crimp comfortably without having to get the pliers out to finagle it. I'm gonna get my little triangle on. Let's see if I've got that triangle the way I want it. Yeah, see, they just look like little diamonds at the top. How cute is that? And then I'm gonna get another, this is where I need to get out my other crimp tube to replace the one that I oopsed earlier. And I'm just gonna get that in here in the crimp tube, get it folded over, and pull it through. And I am gonna need a little bit of space, but as you can see on this one, I didn't do a whole lot of space between those. So I need to have enough space that I'm not gonna break my crystal triangle, but I also need to be able to get this loop where I want it. One of the things about this is I want the loop to face a certain way. I want it to be parallel. I want this loop to be parallel to this loop. And so it's gonna take, it took a little finagling on the first one because it keeps wanting to, fold behind like that instead, but that will make my earring, the loop show the wrong way and it won't match the other earring. So I'm just kind of twisting the wire around until I can get it to agree that it's going to be facing front. That's the one thing that is a little bit, here we go, a little bit wonky. That feels like I'm almost there. There we go. And then I've already got this one attached, but I can see there what size I have for the loop that I want to line up with my, there we go. All right, and then I'm going to get this in here, make sure this is how I want it, and then give it a squeeze and hope that it doesn't shift. It's trying to shift. This is the part that's a little bit fiddly, and you might need to kind of jiggle with it a little bit until it's the way you want it, but see, now I've got it. I've got the crimp tube between my pliers, and it doesn't look like it's trying to twist the other way. I've still got my loop and loop. And while you're crimping, it'll twist a little bit, but that's just part of the process. So don't freak out if you do this and it starts to twist, because mine did too, and that's okay. The point is getting it as close to the right way as possible so that your earrings do what you want them to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that, and I'm gonna clip off my excess wire. I'm trying to get as close as I can without cutting what's actually strung on. That will work. And then I've got my gunmetal ear wires. Opening up this link. And see, my loop turned. After all that work, my loop turned. That's okay. That's okay, we can make this work. If you don't like it, you can always use jump rings to correct it, or if you wanted to, you know, add a link so that you could, you know, control that a little bit more, make a longer earring. I did try. Oh, come on. Okay. So, oh no, it ended up working out fine. Like it mostly wants to hang the right way. Like if you like lift it up and have it hang, then they're still mostly doing what they need to do. So those are my earrings. I'm gonna zoom this back out now that I've finished making the earrings, get my tools out of the way, my spare beads out of the way, because we're done with those guys, and I'll be cleaning them up here in a minute. Actually cleaning them up. This is just shifting it, because we have a necklace with matching earrings to admire. So this is my Larvikite donut orphan from Gemstone Orphanage that my sister got for me, that has these beautiful, beautiful flash in it, and some Larvikite earrings. All of this with gunmetal to go with a black and silver dream dress for that stash challenge over on their website. So, what do you think? I love it. I love it. This is what I wanted it to be. This is exactly what I wanted it to be. I feel like it's very nicely balanced, and this is the star. This is absolutely the star. I hope that you had fun. I hope that you loved this video. As always, if you're not already subscribed to Becky's channel, go ahead and hit subscribe, like, ring the bell so you get notifications, and leave us a comment. We love to read and respond to your comments. I hope you have a wonderful day, and happy beading!